Hi everyone, I'm Allie with the Potomac Bead Company, and I'm going to show you how to make some beads here out of the SuperDuo beads. So the SuperDuo beads are 2-hole beads, and they're a little bit oval shape. You can also do these beads out of the twin beads, which is the Preciosa brand. I tend to like the colors of the SuperDuos better, and the SuperDuo shape is a little bit different from the twin shape. You can check out my video on twins versus SuperDuos if you want a little bit more information on that. And the color that I'm using for my project today is the SuperDuo Light Violet Vitrail. I'm using Wildfire beading thread in a 0.006. A 0.008 will work for this project as well. So if you have that size, you can use that one instead. I have my thread burner that I like to use, and I have 2 of my English beading needles, and I'm working with size 10 English beading needles. The color that it's going to get me is this little ball right here. I'm going to make another one so that way I can put these on a pair of earrings to wear, and you can do all kinds of things with these little beads. So we're going to have some fun making these beads. So I've got everything set up and I'm ready to go. Again, I have my bead pile of my 30 beads. And the first thing that I do is I cut my thread into a 20-inch length. You're actually not going to use that whole 20 inches, but it's nice to have a little bit extra to grab onto. And what I'm going to do is thread my needles on both ends of the same piece of thread. So I have one long thread with both of my needles threaded. I did burn my ends, so you can take your flat nose pliers if you need to and kind of flatten that out a little bit in order to thread your needle. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with 5 beads on my thread. When you're looking at the bead here, and the yellow one's really easy to see it with, each little section that composes this bead or this ball is made up of 5 of these little flowers. So when we're making this, it's going to be really important to keep track that you're only using 5 beads per flower. And I'll go slowly with you so you figure out exactly how to do that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put 5 beads onto our thread, and I put them on with my right needle. And with my left needle, I'm going to go back through the same hole of the last bead added, going in the opposite direction. Pull nice and tight, and that's going to get me my little flower. Now what I'm going to do is concentrate on doing another of my little flowers. To do that, I need to get to the top hole of my duo. So the needle that's on the right-hand side is going to go through the top hole going towards the left of that same SuperDuo. And the needle that's on the left is going to go to the right. Cross through, and at this point give a nice tug, and that'll tighten the whole thing up. And you do want to make sure to keep a nice tension the whole time you're doing this because it's going to make your ball nicer. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on 4 beads because I already have 1 bead that I'm using for my flower unit. So again, I'm doing 5 beads total, but 1 is already there. So 4 beads go on. They're going to drop down. And again, my left needle is always going to go through the last bead that I put on through that same hole in the opposite direction. Once I pull that nice and tight, you're going to see, like magic, the flower forms. Once that second flower is formed, same deal. I'm going to go through the top hole here. Right goes to left and left goes to right. And then give a nice tight pull to tighten that up and yank it. And there we go. Again, a nice tight pull. And I do a lot of tension on my thread. I pull really tightly. I hardly ever have it snap. That's why I like the Wildfire beading thread. So for row 3, we're going to do something that's a little bit different. What we're going to do is we're actually going to join 2 of these beads here. So I'm going to take my left needle, I already went through the top hole, and I'm going to go to the bead that's to the left and go through the top hole of that bead as well. So now my flower section, I already have 2 beads that are on this thread. So because I'm adding 5 beads total, I need to add an additional 3. So 3 more beads go onto my right needle. I let them drop down, pick up my left needle, and again, the left needle is going to go through the same hole of the last bead. Pull nice and tight, and that's going to get me another little flowered section. Again, my needle goes from the left to right and right to left. Give a nice tight pull because I'm always needing to get to that top hole of that last bead added. I pull nice and tight, and make sure that that third flower is nice and tight and ready to go. After I pull and do that third one, for my fourth step, I'm going to join the 2 beads just like I did for the third step. So my needle that's on the left here is going to go through the bead to the left. Again, I'm already through 2 beads, so I need to add 3 more to get my group of 5. I add 3 more on my right hand needle, let them drop down, pick up my left needle, and go through that same hole of the last bead in the opposite direction. Give a nice little tight pull, and that's going to start to get me my pattern. Again, I'm going up through the top hole then of that same bead. So I'm always ending on the bottom hole of the last bead added, and then my thread, I need to go to the top hole. Same for the next step, we're going to join the 2. So my needle that is on the left is going to go through 1 more bead on the left. And again, I need to get my set of 5, so I'm going to add 3 more beads. I let those 3 beads drop down. Grab my left hand needle here, go through the same hole on the left hand side. Give a nice tight pull. And there's that other flower again. The next one is built. I'm going to take my needle and go through the top hole, going in opposite directions. Pull nice and tight. And that's going to get me so far 5 of those little flowers. For my next step, we're going to be a little bit more advanced, and what I want to do is just start to get my shape a little bit. To do that, instead of going through 2 beads with my left needle, I'm going to go through 3 at once. So I'm going to go the whole way across the project through 3 beads. Because I have those 3 beads, I know that now I need to put on 2 beads. I'm going to put on the 2 beads, take my left needle, go through that last bead, and when I pull this one, it's going to start to make it into a little cup shape. So it's getting a little bit of that concave shape, which is what we're working on to get our ball. We're going to go through the top hole of that same bead and give a nice tight little pull. And that's going to get that next step done. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to the 2 method, and I'm going to take my needle that's on the left, go through 1 more bead on the left hand side, and give a nice tight pull. Again, because I have 2 beads that are attached right now to my thread and my needle, I'm going to add 3 beads. You can see my pile of SuperDuos is starting to get small, so I know I'm getting close to the end. I put 3 beads on my needle, cross through that bottom hole of the last bead added. Again, move from the bottom hole to the top hole, which is always that same step, bottom hole to top hole. Pulling nice and tight so you get that nice and tight flower effect. The next thing we're going to do is add 3 again. So we're going to join 3. So my needle's already through the first bead. I'm going to add through the second bead and through the third bead. I'm going to give it a pull and then get ready to add 2 beads because I'm already sewn through 3. I need 2 more to get to my set of 5. After I put that on, my left needle goes through that last bead added. Give a nice little tight pull up through the top hole to complete that set of 5. I'm going to give it a nice tight tug again because it really does separate out a little bit until you give it that nice tight tug at the end. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add and join 3 of my beads. So I'm again through 1, 2, 3. So I'm joining 3 beads at once. And then because I have 3 on my needle, again, I just add 2. Add 2 on. Let those drop down next to the 3 already there. Go back through that bead there. Get to the top. And the rounded shape makes it a little bit difficult to see, so I apologize for that. But you're going back through the top hole again to complete that set of 5. Nice tight pull, and we're done that set of 5. The next thing we're going to do is join 3 again. So I'm picking up my left needle. I'm already through my first one, going through 2 and going through 3. And I'm going to give it a nice little tight yank. Because I'm through 3, I know I need to add 2. And that only leaves me with 1 SuperDuo left. And put on those 2, go back through the last bead added. Give a nice tight pull. Go from bottom hole to top hole to complete your set of 5. Now I only have 1 bead left to use, so it's kind of nice because you know I've got to start with 4 then. My needle's through 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I'm going to add then my 5th bead onto my right hand needle. So it's nice to lay out that group of 30 ahead of time, because then you know when you have just that 1 bead when you're done with your instructions. You're going to cross through that 1 bead, give a nice tight pull, go through the top hole, and then we're going to get ready to join our ball. So I'm going through the top hole just like I've been doing. And after that, I'm still going to give a nice tight yank before I get ready to finish my ball off. So now I have no beads left in my pile, and I'm ready to kind of sew this together. What I'm going to be doing is joining the top hole of all of the beads. So I'm going right around in a circle through these 5 beads here at the top, and these holes are already empty, so it's nice to know that you've got to put some thread through it. I'm also going to go back through that first bead to complete my loop, give a nice tight pull, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same thread that I'm holding, I'm going to sew through the bottom hole of that same bead, bring my thread and needles to the same side, and just tie a double knot. When I tie the double knot then, I'm just going to either do a little dab of glue if you're going to be using it and you have a lot of tension on it, or what you can do is just burn it down. I tend not to use glue for something like this because they're going to be used for earrings. If I was using them in a bracelet or a necklace, maybe, but you can see I'm using a lot of tension. I'm going to take my burner then and do a nice burn and getting nice and tight and closed. If you have a little extra thread that's showing, you can take your burner and kind of burn that down. And there you have your beaded bead. So now that we're done our beaded beads, I wanted to show you this little chart that I like to keep track of. So that way, when you're making it, you don't have to keep pausing my video, you don't have to keep watching it. I don't say this at the beginning of the video, I leave it till the end, so that way it's not really confusing. Once you watch the video, I always like to see what I'm making, then try to make it and attempt it. So you want to write this down. At the start, we added 5 beads. Then we added 4. And then what you're doing is, for your 3rd, join 2, add 3. 4th, join 2, add 3. 5th, join 2 together with that left needle, add 3 on the right. 6, join 3, add 2. 7, join 2, add 3. 8, join 3, add 2. 9, join 3, add 2. 10, join 3, add 2. 11, join 4, add 1. and 12, you join all of the beads. So have fun making these beaded beads. They've been a lot of fun for us. Like I said, you can do them with the twin beads. You can do them with the SuperDuos. It's kind of up to you what you use. You can also add some 11/0 or 15/0 seed beads in between there to hide some more of the thread if you want. But they're really great. You don't use that many SuperDuos in it, just 30, so you can make a whole necklace or bracelet design out of it. But have fun making these. Hopefully you learned something new and have a chance to check out our Facebook page, check out the rest of our YouTube videos, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube videos. If you get a chance and you're near one of our stores, please stop by and visit us. We'd love to see you. And hopefully you have fun making these little rounded balls with the twin beads or the SuperDuos.